Week 5, Lesson 5. Okay, so this particular lesson is a review of using binomial expansion to do probabilities. And I hope you remember some of this. You were supposed to learn it in Algebra 2. All right, so for this example, it says that 6 coins are tossed. So what I want you to think about first is the fact that when you toss a coin, there's only 2 things that could happen. You could get a tail, which has a probability of 1/2, or you could get a head, which also in this case has a probability of 1/2. On the worksheet, I'm looking at it right now, the probabilities are not going to be 1/2. Okay, so I'm just letting you know this is just for this particular example. All right, so the way we set this up is we're like, every time we toss the dice, the 2 outcomes are either heads or they are tails. And since we're tossing the coins 6 times, we're going to raise this to the 6th power. Now, if you remember doing binomial expansion, when this number is a 6, that means that there's going to be 7 blanks to fill in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, now each of these blanks is going to have 3 things in it. There's going to be something dealing with heads, there's going to be something dealing with tails, and there's going to be a number in each of these blanks. All right, and I'm going to try really hard to color code this thing. So I am going to start with the heads. All right, I'm going to start with the heads at this end with the high exponent, and they're going to decrease by 1 all the way down, like that. All right, I'm going to switch back to red, and I'm going to start with the tails, but I'm going to start with the tails at, that is not what I wanted. I wanted a regular old pen. There we go. All right, we're going to start with tails at this end with the high exponent, and they're going to decrease as we move, and that should not be a 4. That should be a 5. There we go. They're going to decrease on their way in this direction, like that. And in any of the blanks at this point, if you add up the exponents, you should end up with a 6. Okay, that's a really nice check to do before you move on even further. Just make sure that all those exponents in every single blank add up to be 6. All right, and then there's a way to fill in the numbers. And again, there's a couple different ways. I don't know which way you remember. You may remember Pascal's triangle to fill them in. There is a pattern involving the place number and the exponents on the H's, but this first one's always going to be a 1, and this one's always going to be a 1. The way I remember this is I do 1 times 6 divided by 1, because this is the first position, gives me 6. And then 6 times this 5 divided by this 2, because it's the second position, gives me 15. 15 times 4 divided by 3 gives me 20. And if I'm not mistaken, I've reached the middle, right? That is the middle spot, which means they start to repeat themselves on the way back down. 15, 6, and 1. Okay, so now that I have this filled in, let me erase a couple things that are sort of in my way. Oh, I can't erase that, huh? All right, maybe this one? There we go. Okay, so now that I have these blanks filled in, I'm going to use the highlighter to help me answer these questions. Let me start with yellow. For this problem right here, 3 heads and 3 tails happens very, very specifically in this blank. You can see when you look at the exponents, it's 3 heads and 3 tails. So to actually do this calculation, all you have to do is replace the probability in for each letter. So I'm going to have 20 times the probability of heads raised to the 3rd times the probability of tails also raised to the 3rd. And if you break out your calculator, you should get 5/16. Okay, let me go back to a highlighter for this question for B. If I want at least 4 heads, well, this one has at least 4 heads, and so does this one, and so does this one, right? These 3 blanks, okay? And you're going to do the exact same type of calculation. You're going to do the number that you see times the probability raised to the power plus 6 times 1/2 to the 5th times 1/2 to the 1st plus 15 times 1/2 to the 4th times 1/2 squared. And again, calculator, definitely use a calculator. You should get, oh, this is nice. Mine got cut off. It's 11 seconds. Okay, so down here, let's see, 2 heads or 5 tails. 2 heads or 5 tails. That happens here, right? This one has 2 heads, and this one has 5 tails. All right, so again, you just have to look, as long as it's all laid out well, it shouldn't be too hard to calculate. This should be 15 times 1/2 to the second times 1/2 to the fourth plus 6 times 1/2 to the first times 1/2 to the fifth. Again, calculator, I'm hoping you get 21/64. 21/64. All right, and then the last one, and I'm almost out of highlighter colors, so we'll use blue. All heads are all tails. So that happens on this end and at this end, right? So then let's just, again, fill in what we know. I'm going to have 1/2 to the 6th. 1/2 to the 0 is just 1, so I'm not going to put that in. Plus 1/2 to the 6th. Okay, nice. Which should equal 1/32.